Hi, welcome to Music Tech. Today we're gonna take a look at the Mionix Naos Pro mouse. This mouse has a lot going for it, but it also feels like tech from the past in some ways, and that's not always a bad thing. In this video I'll tell you all about my experience with the Naos Pro that I've been using for 3 months. We'll go over the good, the not so good, and what could improve in the future. I was planning on making this video after I used it for about 2 weeks, and I wrote a script that was kind of negative at first, but after using the mouse for more than a month, I started to see a lot of positive things about it, so I had to rewrite the whole script and make this video again. I've been an on and off user of Mionix mice since maybe 2014 all the way up to around 2018. I always liked the shape and the quality of their mice and what you get for the price. But I remember that their earlier mice, they used laser sensors that weren't that great. Back then I was looking for a mouse that could give support to my whole hand and my fingers at the same time, using a palm grip, and the Naos Pro was a great shape for me back then. But then something happened. Between 2017 and 2019, Final Mouse released their ultralight honeycomb perforated mouse, and from that point new brands as well as well-known brands released mice focused on keeping the weight down and also making wireless mice an option for gaming with new wireless technologies that could lower the latency down to almost nothing. Mionix stuck to their traditional unique shapes and improved their mice incrementally with more modern sensors, switches, new materials, cables, feet, and so on. So if you liked the shape of the old mouse, you could still buy a brand new Naos mouse with the same shape as the old ones, but with everything else improved. So hi, it's me from the future. While I was editing the review for the Naos Pro, I went to their homepage to check out if they had any sales or anything, and I can see that they have the Naos Pro and the Caster Pro on sale, but they are out of stock. And this correlates to about 40 USD, the price here. So I don't know if you can find it anywhere else right now, but one interesting thing I saw also was that they have something coming soon. And here it says, it clicks, take your gaming level to the next level. Take your gaming to the next level with our latest innovation. And that looks like a keyboard from what I can see here. And here it says, elevate your gameplay with our wireless innovation. And that looks like a mouse of some sort. And it sounds, obviously, this looks like some type of headset. And yeah, so they're coming out with some new stuff really soon, it seems. Yeah, and I will try to make a review of everything here when it comes out. Really interesting. In my review, I talk about how Mionix should try to make some different mice and also make wireless mice. And it looks like they're gonna release wireless mice really soon, which is great to see. And now back to the rest of the video. I think that's great that they kept the original shape and focused on improving the internals. But how does it hold up in 2024 compared to other mice? Now let's take a look at the specs and the hardware first. This is a very well built mouse. It has a very good optical sensor, the PWM3370, and it has mechanical kill switches that are rated for 80 million clicks. It also has 7 programmable buttons, a very nice scroll wheel, and a nice braided and flexible cable. I'll put the rest of the specs on screen now so you can pause the video if you want to see the details. The buttons have a slight curve for the fingers and it feels very nice. And here's a small sound test so you can hear the buttons. The buttons are pretty easy to press down, but that creates an issue for me with my left mouse button. Because of the shape of the mouse, my hand wants to rest on it naturally, and if I rest my fingers on the buttons, my middle finger presses down on the left mouse button with the weight of my finger. And it doesn't matter how far back or how far forward I move my hand, it still presses down on the button. So I have to move my middle finger to the side of the mouse. Maybe I just have very heavy fingers or hands, but comparing it to this 20-year-old Logitech mouse, if I rest my hand on this one, there's no problem with accidental presses of the buttons. The side buttons are in a good position, out of the way, but easily reachable when needed. They feel really nice to press, as all of the other buttons. The scroll wheel is a bit too smooth for my liking. It's easy to scroll, but the steps could have been a little more distinctive. And the wheel is very easy to press down. It requires almost the same force as pressing down on the other buttons. And you won't press it down by accident either, or at least it hasn't happened to me. The 2 buttons behind the scroll wheel also feel very nice, and you can reprogram all of the buttons to do pretty much anything you want, and we'll take a look at the software later. The PTFE feet are nice and large. There are 4 of them in one each corner. The mouse also feels very stable on the table. What up? The mouse also feels very stable on a table. What the fuck? There are no rattles or noises coming from the mouse when shaking it hard. And there are no accidental clicks or presses of the buttons when I slam it down on the table. Let's talk about the coating of the mouse. The special UV resistant coating on the mouse feels very nice to the touch. It's super smooth and silky, but it's extremely slippery. It makes the mouse very hard to pick up because of that. Now that I've greased it down with some fat and oil from my fingers, that's kind of gross, I can lift it up pretty easily, but it's still not great. And I hope they will make a mouse with either a rougher coating or a really glossy finish in the future for better grip. As a result of that coating, the mouse also picks up fingerprints pretty easily. I've not cleaned the mouse for the B-roll you're gonna see now, so you can see how it looks after a couple of hours of using it. This is marketed as a palm grip mouse, but it's very usable with a claw grip too. To my surprise actually. But it says on their homepage, some say claw too under grip style. So yeah, you can use it however you want. If you have medium to large size hands, this will be a pretty comfortable mouse for you. Here are the measurements of my hand and fingers so you can compare it to your hand. And here's a chart from the best mouse reviewer on YouTube in my opinion, Rocket Jump Ninja. Go check out his channel, he really needs the subscribers, he has a really small channel, you know. I'll leave a link in the description. And he makes great music too, don't forget to check that out. And here's the mouse compared to some other mice. I'll let some background music play and you can watch the size difference. Now let's take a look at the software. Under mouse settings to the left we have the buttons that you can change what each and every button does. And under the mouse picture we have the polling rates. You can go from 125 to up to 1000 Hertz. And also to the right here we have the double click speed, the scroll wheel speed, and you can turn on and off the acceleration. You can go from low, medium to high. And up top here we have 5 different profiles that you can save settings to. And under sensor performance, we have the DPI settings. You can have up to 5 steps of different DPI settings. And you can also choose how many steps you want. And of course, you can add your own values manually to each and every step. And also you can change pointer speed. But this didn't do anything when I changed it. So I don't know if it's linked to Windows settings in some way. And also you can change the liftoff distance from low to high, from 1mm to 2mm. You can turn angle snapping and ripple control on and off. And there's also a surface analyzer tool that you can use to get better tracking. And under color settings you can change the LED brightness, and you can also use different LED effects like solid, blinking, pulsating or breathing. You can change the different color options from solid to shifting colors to individual LED for the dual zone LEDs. And to the right you can change the color of the individual LEDs, or you can turn off the LEDs completely. And under macro settings you can create different macros. I haven't really used this feature, but I think you can do pretty much whatever you want with the macros. And in the support tab you can update the firmware, you can update the software and see which version you have currently. So let's summarize what I think is good and bad about this mouse. The shape for medium to large size hands if you use a palm grip is pretty good, but you could use it with a claw grip too. The build quality is top notch. The buttons and the scroll wheel feel really nice. It has a very nice flexible cable too. The customization in the software is very good as well. It has a very accurate sensor and very good glide with those PTFE feet. And here are some of the bad things. The shape, yes, it's both good and bad depending on how big or small your hand is. I don't like the slippery coating, it's very slippery. It's a fingerprint magnet and it's really hard to pick up during gaming because of that slippery coating. And it is on the heavier side. And there's no universal app, so you can't control the settings in macOS or Linux. What I would like to see in the future from Mionix is some lighter weight mice. I mean, make them perforated if you have to, or use lightweight materials like the Razer Viper uses. And also make some wireless options, that would be great to see. I mean, you could just copy the good stuff from other brands, I mean, everybody else does it, so why shouldn't Mionix do it? And maybe they can try out some new shapes that are smaller or something, and maybe try out some new coatings that are not so slippery. Alright, that's it for this review. My next review will be of the Caster Pro, it's also a Mionix mouse, so subscribe so you don't miss that. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you again sometime in the future.